Hi, I'm Kevin Don, the Get Fit Guy. I'm here to share my accumulated decade of knowledge in the strength and conditioning industry with you to help you to become the best version of yourself whilst cutting through the hype and biases. This week I received an email from one of my listeners, and since this is actually a fairly common question, I thought it would be a great opportunity to address it here on the show. The email reads as follows. Yes, I know diet is the main thing, but I'm looking for fun new exercises that will help my love handles and belly. I already do all of the regular things, but I need to mix it up. Any thoughts on the efficacy of weighted hula hoops or anything else that's different and helps those areas? Okay, so there are a few things to dig into here, so sit back, buckle up, and get ready for some facts. The first is that I don't necessarily believe a diet is the best solution. A quick search in the Macmillan Dictionary tells me that one of the meanings of diet, and certainly the one that applies here, is a limited amount of food that someone eats because they're trying to become thinner. As I've discussed several times here on the show, fitness is the absence of disease in an organism. Whilst it's certainly the case that being overweight can bring a host of health issues, we can say the opposite is also true. Cutting entire food groups, under-consuming nutrients, and being underweight will lead to mental and physical health problems. So I want to distance myself from the diet idea. However, it's also true that humans are subject to the first law of thermodynamics, that being that energy is always conserved. Basically, your body's like a bank. If you eat more calories than you burn, the energy will be conserved in the form of fat. So burning more than we consume will lead to the usage of the conserved energy. However, there are perhaps healthier ways of doing this than dieting. Firstly, we could look at increasing NEAT. NEAT is an acronym which stands for Non-Exercise Activity Thermogenesis, which is basically burning more calories during the day outside of dedicated exercise times. We can do this by increasing our lean muscle mass, but we can also increase NEAT by doing things like parking further from the front door of the office or grocery store and getting in some extra steps. Secondly, we can look at basic lifestyle guidelines, such as increasing or improving our sleep quality, decreasing our stress levels, getting some time outdoors in sunlight, and even just spending more time chewing and appreciating our food. The next part of the email is that the listener wants to reduce belly fat and love handles. Now, the bad news is you can't just pick a part of your body that you want to lose fat on. Sadly, it's a process that affects our whole body, and oftentimes we find that the areas that we gain weight first are the ones where we lose the weight last. We have to just be patient and respect the same process for fat loss as we do for muscle gain. It's slow, it's progressive, and frankly, it can be a bit boring. This brings me to the point where our listener says, I need to mix it up. Now, I've spoken on the show before about the SAID principle of specific adaptations. Your body responds to random exercises in the same way with fat loss as it does in the accumulation of muscle, aerobic capacity or skill development. That is to say, it doesn't respond to randomness. We don't need to mix it up. We prefer to mix it up because entertainment, or as I jokingly call it, entertainment, is a factor for many. The reality is that doing the same things over and over again with just more volume, more intensity, and more complexity week on week will be more impactful than mixing things up. And finally, weighted hula hoop. The efficacy? Well, if it addresses what I said, which is that you do more of it this week than you did last, do it harder this week than you did it last, heavier this week than you did it last, or with more complexity than you did it last time, then it will have value and use. But the idea that doing hula hoop will help love handles is maybe not a useful one. As we know, the body responds to external stress by making an adaptation. So let's take bicep curls. If you have a high body fat percentage and wanted to specifically reduce arm fat, then you might choose bicep curls as a way to train the fat away from your arms. But in reality, the bicep will respond to training by increasing in size. You won't burn off any localized fat, and now your arms will actually look bigger. In terms of hula hoop, we're going to find a bunch of different muscle groups being involved. When you extend your hips, there will be glutes. When you flex your hips back, there will be hip flexors and maybe quads. And moving side to side, we'll have some kind of lateral stabilizers, like maybe glute minimus and medius, and maybe our oblique muscles in the abdominals. So, thanks so much for writing into the show, giving me the opportunity to address a common question. If anyone has any questions, you can do the same. Contact details at the end of the show. So, to summarize, we have learned that any exercise may be a great way to increase overall activity and NEAT. However, that doesn't mean that you can target fat loss on a specific area. Instead, just follow the principles that we've laid out here week on week, and you should see steady progress towards any training goal you may have. Get Fit Guy is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. Thanks to the team at Quick and Dirty Tips, Adam Cecil, Morgan Christensen, Holly Hutchings, and Davina Tomlin. Our intern is Cameron Lacey, and I'm your host, Kevin Don. If you have any questions for me, please leave me a voicemail at 510-353-3104 or email me directly at getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com. For more information about the show, visit quickanddirtytips.com or check out the show notes in your podcast app.